back, relax, and maybe get yourself a snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hey guys! I know I only recently did a book haul, but I've gained a lot more books, so here's another one. Let's get started. The first book I was sent for review, and I'm very excited to have it because it is the, I think, last one in a series. But this is book number 5, and it is The Fall of Dragons by Miles Cameron. I've not actually finished up book number 4, so I definitely need to do that. But I love this series. It's the Traitor Son cycle series, and it starts with The Red Knight. I'll put a link to my review of that one down below because I absolutely adored it, and I've enjoyed all the books since then. I really love this. It is a big epic fantasy with lots of different characters in a world where dragons and wyverns and the wilds all kind of contain these creepy, terrible monsters, and there's evil forces working against the good, and it's all very exciting and very fantasy and just what I love. Next up, I just went to BristolCon, which is, of course, in Bristol. It's a little science fiction and fantasy convention there. I'd never been to it before, but it was a lot of fun. I met up with Eleanor and Elizabeth, and we had a great time just hanging out and chatting and catching up, and also going to a couple of the panels that were on there. And I met a lot of the SBFBO judges and participants, and Mark Lawrence, and lots of other great people. So I had a wonderful time. If you were there, then I'm so happy I met you, and if you weren't, then I would definitely recommend going to some conventions, and BristolCon was lots of fun. But whilst I was there, I did get 3 books, none of which I bought, so I feel quite happy about that. The first one was in my goodie bag, and it is this one. It's called Rhyming Rings, and it's by David Gemmell. I have heard so much good stuff about David Gemmell, and this does not look like my kind of a read at all. It seems like it is a thriller. Possibly there are SFF tones to it, I don't know. If you've read it, you can let me know, but it does not look like my sort of thing. It's about a serial killer and a journalist and kind of all the crimey stereotypes in the world. But because you guys have constantly recommended David Gemmell to me, I decided I would keep a hold of it for now. Let me know if it's worth keeping or not if you have read it. Maybe I'll try some of his work with this one, or should I not? Tell me down below. The first one I picked up is this one, Messenger's Legacy by Peter V. Brett, and this was on the book swap table, so you can put down one book and get another, and I had a different book in my goodie bag which I put down to get this, and I'm very happy to have this. I just finished reading the series, the Demon Cycle series, absolutely loved it, and I have already read this one. I just didn't own a physical copy, and this gorgeous little copy was there. It is a novella that is set in the Demon Cycle world, and I love it. And it's about Briar, who's one of my favourite characters from the series, but it's such a pretty little book. I couldn't resist, so now I have a physical edition that can sit up on my shelf with the other books in the series. The final book that I got from BristolCon is this one, and this one was given to me by the author there. Her name is Rosalind Kelly, and this is Melikai, which is her book. This sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. First off, I love the cover. That is a badass cover if I ever saw one. And she, the author, was absolutely lovely, so I really hope I like it. She did sign it to me in the cover as well. And it says, legendary warrior Ramya has successfully reigned over Pekya as Melikai for 12 years. Prosperous, peaceful and happy, her people love her, or so she thinks. But Ramya's time is up. Bracing herself for the gruesome sentence imposed on all Melikais who have served their purpose, she hears instead a shocking prophecy. So it sounds like she's going to be a pretty badass female lead character. I'm definitely looking forward to that, and I can't wait to see how it is. So yeah. Thank you very much for giving me this, and hopefully I'll get to this really soon after SBFBO is done. Next, I have a couple of books I bought for myself. The first one is this, Thickety, The Whispering Trees by J.A. White. I just recently read the first one in this series. It's a kid series. It's a really kind of creepy witch-based series. Lots of fun, lots of great little moments in the story that I really enjoyed. And I wanted to pick up the next one. I believe there are a few in the series, and it's a beautifully put together series with like the deckled edges and stuff and the beautiful cover designs. Can't wait to go back to the world and find out what happens next, because it's left on a fair bit of a cliffhanger. I recently went on a bookshop crawl with a couple of different booktubers up in London, and whilst we were there I did go into a second-hand bookshop and find a couple of fantasy and science fiction books there that I'd never heard of that I thought I would give a try, because I love old science fiction and fantasy when I find it at super cheap rates, and that's exactly what happened in this shop. So I picked up these 4. Don't really know anything about any of them, so I'm just going to show them to you guys quickly. The first one is this. It's The Awakeners, a stunning epic from the most exciting fantasy writer of the decade, Sherry S. Tepper. I haven't read any Sherry S. Tepper yet. I do have one of her books to read and I've heard very good things about her, but this one has little like winged creatures on the cover. I don't know if they're dragons or like some sort of human bat-like thing, but it sounded cool. It says, in the magic, savage world of the river, the pace of life is dictated by the ebb and flow of the great tides, and by the power of a fearsome religion. Yet dangerous currents gather force beneath the placid surface, and together Parmadon and Thrasini the boatman seek to uncover the terrible truth about the river and its awesome strength. Let me know if this is not the first one in the series. I think it is. I tried to get the first one in the series, but if it's not, then do let me know. But yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm definitely looking forward to giving Sherry S. Tepper a go. The next book I got is this one, and I believe this is a collection of stories by Hannes Bock, Beyond the Golden Stair. Never heard of this author before at all, and it was the cover that kind of drew me in because it's a bit weird. And all the way round it's a bit weird. I believe that this is a previously unpublished book, and I think I read the first couple of pages and it seemed like it was going to be a good read from what I read, so I decided I would pick it up, but I honestly have no real idea what it is. It just says it's really vivid and fruitful and it will stand out and it will have great literary stuff. I don't know, it's super short, it's weird, but it sounds good and I'm gonna try it at some point in the future, I don't know when. Next up, I picked up this one, which is by Melanie Rawn. I have heard great things about this author, and this is The Dragon Prince, book 1. Don't know much about it, but I mean dragons, what more do you need? Look, the cover art is by Michael Whalen and it's got gorgeous, gorgeous dragons in the background, that's so cool. The Dragon Lord. When Rohan became the new prince of the desert, ruler of the kingdom, he took the crown with 2 goals in mind. First and foremost, he sought to bring permanent peace to his world of the divided princedoms, realms hovering always on the brink of war, and in a land where dragon slaying was a proof of manhood, Rohan was the sole champion of the dragons, and his son-runner witch, Cyaned, who was fated by fire to be Rohan's bride, has mastered the magic of sunlight and moonglow, catching hints of a yet-to-be-formed pattern which could irrevocably affect the destinies of the Sunrunners and ordinary mortals alike. Sounds like there's going to be a lot going on. It's a fairly chunky little book, and I'm excited to try some Melanie Rawn. It's like just under 600 pages, so it's a bit of a chunky one. And the final one I picked up in that bookshop is this one, A Princess of the Chamiln, I'm not sure how you say that. The first book in the Rulers of Hyla, and this is by Cherry Wilder, who I've never heard of. It's got a super duper weird cover, like no idea what is going on with the proportions there. It is totally messed up, but whatever. First, they murdered her parents. Even as the king and queen lie dying, the armies of the Melnir swarm across the borders, and so Idris, princess and heir to the kingdom of Camilon, must flee her land or be herself killed. Or worse, made the wedded slave of the barbarian king. Thus begin the adventures of a maiden born to rule who must first learn the arts of survival in a world where every man's hands seem raised against her. Only then can she control the power that dwells within her and be ready when her people come to claim her as their queen, ready to rule, ready to fight, and ready to die, that her country may live free. Bum bum bum. So yeah, they all sound pretty fun, fairly stereotypical, but I'm excited. I'd love trying out new authors, or at least new to me authors. I know they're fairly older authors, but I'm excited to give it a go. I have a couple more books that I bought. The first of those is The Dragon Seekers, and this is by Christopher McGowan. I bought this as I was looking for non-fiction November stuff, and this had been on my wish list a while. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. I believe it's about some people who were looking into fossils, and it's kind of all about how they started to piece together the world of dinosaurs. It sounds like it's going to be a really interesting sort of scientific look at developing history. It's got some pictures and illustrations in there as well, which I'm very excited to read more of. And I think this was recommended by Olive, so I'll put a link to her channel down below because she's great. And yeah, I really trust some of her recommendations when it comes to sort of interesting non-fiction. Another book I was sent by the publisher is this one, Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. I'm sure many of you have heard of this, but this is the illustrated edition, which is illustrated by Chris Riddell. I love Chris Riddell's illustrations. He recently did The Lie Tree with Frances Hardinge, and that was stunning. And apparently he's now illustrated Neverwhere, so that's really exciting. I've actually not read Neverwhere, although I have read the little novella that goes with it, which is How the Marquis Got His Coat Back. I've already read that, but apparently that is included in here too. This looks lovely. I love the illustration style, like I say. It's just gruesome and cool, and I think it'll fit Neil Gaiman's writing from what I've seen of him before. I know that they've done previous collaborations and they've always been great, so I'm looking forward to actually reading Neverwhere, and also I'm going to be reading it in this beautiful illustrated edition, so can't complain there. Very excited to have this. And finally, I have a couple of illustrated books that I'm going to show you. The first one I was sent by the publisher, and I'm so excited because this is one of my favourite graphic novel series, and when they offered it to me I was like yes, because I was going to buy it anyway. This is Porcelain Ivory Tower, which is by Benjamin Reed and Chris Wildgoose. It's a lovely story. It starts off about a young girl called Child, and we follow her adventures as she gets involved in the porcelain industry, and then it goes on to follow Lady in the second volume, who is the grown-up version of Child, and I guess the third volume is also following her, although I don't know an awful lot more about where it's going to go, and I don't really want to. I love kind of just seeing how this world evolves. It usually skips through a lot of time between the volumes, so it's really, really cool. I love it, and I can't wait to see where it goes in this one. It looks like it's going to be completely mad as ever, but the illustrations are gorgeous and I can't wait. So very, very happy to have this and can't wait to read it, probably for Getting Graphic. And then there are a couple of books that I bought for myself just to finish up this haul, which are also heavily illustrated ones, but they're on a strong theme. And the first of those is this one, Inside the Magic, The Making of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them by Ian Nathan. This is a behind the scenes book and look at everything they did for the films, kind of from costuming, characters, set design, prop design, all of that stuff in this book. So I'm really, really excited to have this. I've read a lot of these to do with the Harry Potter films, so I'm really happy they're doing it for Fantastic Beasts too. Totally buying into all of the Harry Potter merchandise at the moment. Well, book merchandise anyway. And I'm loving it. So I can't wait to read this very, very soon. And as you can see, it's kind of a collection of pictures and words and all sorts of stuff about how they did things, basically. Next up, I have this one, which is Harry Potter, A History of Magic, and this is a book that Bloomsbury bought out to do with the British Library exhibition that's currently on. I think it's on till February next year. It's an exhibition all about the world's history of magic, and they're tying it in with the Harry Potter world of magic, so they're kind of giving you reasoning and ideas and inspiration that J.K. Rowling would have looked into when she was creating the Harry Potter world, and also linking some of the things that she put in that world into our own history, our own magic, and the things that we've had in the past of the world. So I'm really excited to kind of find out a bit more about our own history and how that ties in with Harry Potter. I'm curious to see. But yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, it's a beautifully, heavily illustrated book. The inside's gorgeous, but the cover is stunning. Let me take this off. Look at that, it's got this amazing snake on it, so that's wonderful. Inside there's, again, fairly even split of text and pictures, and it kind of goes through all sorts of different things, not just Harry Potter, but our world too. So I'm really, really excited to find out a bit more about what's going to be in this. Finally, the last thing that I bought for myself, and it is overdue because it came out a while ago now, is this beast. The third illustrated Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling and illustrated by Jim Kay. I adore these illustrated versions. They are absolutely stunning. I've already got and read the first two, and I'm just buying them when they come out because they're beautiful. I think I will maybe try and do a reread in December of the Harry Potter books, and I will definitely be using the illustrated editions. I cannot wait to read this. I had a sneaky tiny peek at a couple of pages and they're just stunning. I don't really want to ruin it for you guys, but I'm going to show you maybe one page, so let's just open it to a random one. There you go. The illustrations are just absolutely gorgeous in this, so I cannot wait to get into this, and I'll show you the end papers as well actually, because it's Azkaban, I think. So cool. I'm really happy to have this in my collection as well. So that is everything I have recently picked up since my last book haul at any rate, but I'd love to hear in the comments which ones you think I should read first, or if you have any other recommendations of something similar you think I might like, then do let me know, and tell me what the most recent book that you picked up is. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye guys!
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick then come back and chat with me again.